By January, I had 10,000 followers. By February, I had 60,000 followers. By the end of February, I had 1 million.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Forbes Top Creator Show. I'm Forbes editor Stephen Bertoni. I'm here with comedian, creator, star podcast host himself, Jake Shane.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to meet you, man.
I'm so excited to meet you too.
I was looking at your face for years as an under 30. You know, I was editing it, and there was your and as a top creator. Glad to be face to face.
I know. It's a full circle moment for sure.
Although this podcast studio is not as cozy as yours, you have like a cool vibe in your podcast.
I feel fairly comfortable, honestly. I feel super comfortable. This is just as cozy.
It's good. This is great.
Yeah.
Forbes, you're at the Forbes Top Creator photo shoot. You see the action downstairs. Right. It's great. I want to start back in the beginning. How did you get your start in this whole crazy social media game?
I started my internship at a record label that summer of COVID. Until the end of junior year, I was like, all right, well, I wanted to drop out of college and just do that full time. They were like, okay, you've done this for a year. We have to open up internships for other people. Take a break, finish school and come back to us. They were my boss at the time, Molly, was like, you need to finish school. So
you were at USC then, right?
Yes, I was at USC.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay. And so I took that summer and senior year to do as many classes as I could. But I also did find myself to be a little bored because I wasn't working. And I came up with the idea of Pass the Puss, which was like an Octopus review thing. But Pass the Puss was taken. So I made Pass That Puss.
Of course that was taken already.
Yeah,
so yes.
yeah, strange. And then I started it with photos, and it just kept, and then it turned into videos, and then it turned into like these inside jokes. And I remember the first person that ever came up to me was at my college bar, and she was like, I think your stuff is so funny. And I remember being like, oh my God. And I went home that night and I was like, you guys, someone is a fan of my stuff. And everyone was kind of laughing. But in that moment, I was kind of like, all right, like, I guess I'm just going to start posting this and make it like a side. It was such an easy side hustle to have because I love doing it so much. My best friend, Brett, used to drive me around everywhere in Los Angeles to just try Octopus and review it.
No, why Octopus?
I loved it. It's the chicken of the sea. It's salty. It's like bougie. I loved it. It was like my special snack, like in college with my friend Drew. Like,
did you start it as a serious thing, or was it always kind of like a fun tongue in cheek? Like, this is kind of quirky, weird, fun.
It was fun. Everyone loved it.
Yeah.
It was just like everyone loved it. My parents loved it. Like my friends' parents loved it. Like I was like, oh, it's like something to talk about at like when I'm at a dinner party, and like it catches people off guard. Like it's funny.
Okay.
And like, I don't know, like it was fun. It was really fun. And then someone was like, you should start posting those reviews to TikTok. So I started posting the Octopus reviews to TikTok. It didn't really move the needle or anything. Like it kind of just, was existing on TikTok as well as Instagram. But Instagram was like my main area. Then I started making like funny stitches. So I would stitch other videos. And those kind of did well. And then that led me to just like be more comfortable in posting. By January, I had 10,000 followers. By February, I had 60,000 followers. By the end of February, I had 1 million.
Wow. And what do you think caused that jump?
It was the skits.
Okay.
So to celebrate 60,000 followers, I did these skits. I also used to post like 17 times a day. Like I would just anything that came to mind. But I would do these these historical reenactments. Julia Fox posted like comment something you want me to act out and I'll act it out. So I was like, oh, that's such a fun way of doing like improv and acting. And at the time I was like, I want to be an actor, which I still do. But like, I was like going to take these really I was going to like get my acting back for them. And I posted it and people were like, do like something with Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. And I thought, I was like trying to get his accent down and I was like super high at the time. And I was like, honestly, like, I'm just going to do it like speaking as this. I think that's like weirdly kind of funny. And it worked. And then I kept doing those all week and it just took off.
So your Bill Clinton impression is just you talking.
It's like me being like, I didn't sleep with her. Like I didn't. And like, I just like, it was so unserious. And like, it just, at the time, like I don't know. And then I did all the ones like that. But then they started to get a little more thought out and creative, but I've never written any of them out.
Did you do acting in high school and college?
I did acting in middle school. I was in 2 plays in middle school. I was in my senior year play in high school. And I took a theater class my senior year of college.
Gotcha. So you want to get back. By the way, back to the Octopus really quick. Weird segue. What was the best octopus you've ever had?
The Optimist in Atlanta, or this one restaurant in Florence. It was unbelievable.
Do you ever get pushback when like that movie came out, My Octopus Teacher or whatever?
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I haven't seen it, but I had a nightmare the other night, and I kind of took it as an epiphany that maybe I should stop eating octopus. So we'll see what this year brings for me. But I like had a nightmare and I woke up and I was like, But like I don't know. No, I haven't seen the film. But yeah, I've heard they're magnificent creatures as well.
And tasty. It's just magnificent and tasty.
Yeah.
So you start making these historic recreation spoof skits, and you said like your follower count's climbing, you hit 1 million. What did you do then? Like, when did you start thinking like, you know what? Like, I know you were into the record business, you wanted to do A&R, all that sort of stuff. Did you start thinking like, wait a minute, no, this could be my career?
Yes, but what really helped was I was the assistant to someone named Zach. He was the president of the record company, and he also ran a management company. And he always made the joke that if anything ever happened, he would manage me.
Okay.
And he was my boss at the time. And so it like took off to 1 million, and he was like, well, I'll manage you. And I was like, oh, well, that's great. And it kind of happened really seamlessly. And I think I felt I was very lucky in the situation that I was in, but I also felt a lot of encouragement from my friends and everyone around me. That's kind of how it happened. My boss was very like, it wasn't like, oh, you're going to stop doing this. He was like, this is what you're meant to be doing. You should do this.
Do you remember what your first brand deal was, or the first time you got paid?
Yes, I do. It was for Succession on HBO. They wanted me to do a filter. And I went back and I was like, I don't think the filter is going to be funny, but if you let me do a random dance to it, I think it'd be great.
What do you mean by filter?
Like, it was like which Succession character are you?
Okay.
And I was like, I think if you just let me dance to the theme song, like it'll be great. And HBO was like, do it. And I did it. And I was so anxious to post like a brand deal. And it was great because it was like organic to me and who I was.
And then you start, like you said before that you were doing these recreation videos, historic skits. You did hundreds of them.
Yeah.
Like, what was like a day in the life? Like, how did you think of an idea? Tell me, like, because that's a grind.
Well, yes. Like, mentally, it was very taxing. I was also smoking a lot of weed at the time, which I don't anymore. But I thought that that's kind of what made me very creative. So I would like wake up, like be like, what the fuck am I going to post today? And I would like really just I would literally throw anything at the wall and hope that it stuck. That was like always my motto. And like, I would go through comments. There's so many skits I would try out, just wasn't working. I'd stop. The day in the life changed every day. But then once I started my podcast, that introduced a lot of structure into my life. And it introduced me to prove that I could entertain in long form, which was super important. I was very scared of starting it because I thought like, well, everyone has a podcast, like no one's going to care. But everyone has a podcast for a reason because everyone cares. So once the podcast came out, it's like I'll wake up, work out, meetings, recording for a podcast, think about my live show, like write stuff, a lot of writing, a lot of like not like writing, but like just like thinking and like spitting out ideas and like anything just, that would make people laugh. Like literally, I'm like, what can I do that will be funny somewhat?
What did when you started making all these skits, what was the one that really took off that kind of made the difference?
It was the John Hancock one. It was when I was like imitating a founding father after John Hancock signed his name super big because he like wrote it super big, which is a very universal feeling when somebody signs like a yearbook or something super big. And so I just played it off like that.
And then what happened after that?
Agencies started reaching out. Management started reaching out. Luckily, I was already with my king Zach.
Yes,
and
with your old boss.
Yeah, it was with my old boss.
You became the boss.
Yeah. I hate looking at it like that because I kind of like to look at it like we all want the same thing. We're all on a team.
Yeah.
I don't really like to think of myself as a boss of anyone or anything. It makes me like a little uncomfortable. I like to think of myself as like we are all working for the same goal. And I don't know if that makes sense. I just don't like, people are always like, oh, you're the boss of him now, but not really. Because like I value his opinion and his input more than anyone. And the same goes for everybody on my team. So like, if I just don't like being like, well, I'm the boss, because I just don't.
This is fascinating to me because you were doing, skits on your own, short form, and then you decide to launch into a podcast, which is very different. Tell me about like that decision and how you started building it up, and kind of how you change roles. I mean, we got to talk about your mom is a journalist, which I love.
She is.
And your mom's a former Forbes journalist, which
She
I had no
is.
idea.
I know.
So I love that you had this like journalism kind of like genes in you.
I know. I never really thought about doing it, to be honest. I never thought I would get into podcasting. Somebody brought it up to me as an idea. I was feeling super creatively stuck, transparently, and I didn't know what to do next. And someone was like, if you start a podcast, maybe you can take that on a live tour. And I was very hesitant to do stand-up comedy because I was very scared of being like super vulnerable. But I thought doing a live podcast kind of allowed me that room for error to kind of just like get up there and talk. I came up with this. It was kind of just like I said, everyone on the team was like, all right, we're just going to do a podcast. So I was like, okay, we're going to do a podcast. The idea, I used to do this thing on my Instagram stories. I still do, where I say, tell me what's wrong. And I give super blunt advice. Okay. And so I came up with Therapuss, and that was it. I was literally in my old office with all my old coworkers, and I was like, oh, Therapuss. And we just ran with that. And when I do something, I go 100% all in. And I was like, well, this is going to be my personality for the next year. And so I just gave it my all. And I was like, I am going to make sure that this podcast is something worth listening to and worth doing.
And did you kind of dive right in and wing it? Have you always been a big podcast fan? Were you studying? Were there certain people you were trying to emulate?
No. So I didn't know what to do. The one podcast I live, breathe, and die by is Ride with Benito Skinner and Mary Beth Barone. But I knew I was never going to be as funny as they were. But I had my friends be my first guests, my roommates be my first guests. And I remember my first guest was my best friend, Julia. And we were sitting there, and I was so scared. And it was literally me, her, and my podcast producer Nolan, who was an integral part in like making Therapuss what it was visually. Just everything he does is excellent. We've really learned how to work together super beautifully, and like I couldn't imagine it without him. But that was the first time we really had met in person, and it was the first time I recorded, and I was so anxious. And I think I'm so blessed and lucky that I was able to do it with my best friend, because it allowed me to break out of a little bit of a shell before I started interviewing people I didn't know as well.
Yeah. And then where'd you so you record the podcast, it was a video podcast too, like this. Where'd you put it out?
All streaming services and YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how was the initial reaction? Because it takes a long time sometimes.
That's what my manager said. My manager said, Zach said, it's going to take 2 years. You're not going to see any growth. It's going to take 2 years. So I said, okay, so that's what I had in mind. Okay. I was like prepared for nothing, but the podcast debuted at number 3 on the comedy charts. And so I was like, oh my God, like this is the biggest thing in the world. And I just kept working. I kept working, and I had my expectations super low for any success level. And so when anything good ever happened, I was really pleasantly surprised. And I started to like have inside jokes with the viewers of the podcast. I would do a YouTube live premiere where everyone would chat before. It became like a really fun environment.
What do you think it was? I mean, because it said that you're expecting it to take 2 years, and it took just one hit. It just took one post. What was it? Did you think, is it the content? Is it you also had like a really strong, engaged community that really got behind you? Like,
I owe everything to the pussies, the community that I've built. They are literally the most incredible, most supportive following ever. They really let me be myself and just let me find different ways to make them laugh, and just like bring joy, and but I think it was a mixture of things. I did a lot of self-promo. I posted 1,000,001 clips on TikTok. I promoted the fuck out of it. I didn't make a separate account for my podcast. I kept it all on my regular Instagram and regular TikTok. So there was no separation. It was like, well, if you're following me, this is what I'm doing now. I said this earlier, but I really attribute a lot of my success to Tate McRae and Renee Rapp, who were my first 2 guests. They came on when nobody else was on, and they just did it out of like the kindness of their hearts because they're such wonderful friends. And it really opened up the doors for a lot of other artists to come on and a lot of other people to come on. And then once Glenn Powell came on, who was another friend, which I never thought he was going to do it because he was having such a summer at the time, and he did it and gave me so much of his time and was so awesome to work with. That opened the door for other actors to want to come on, and I just got really lucky. I think I got really lucky.
I mean, you said like Tate McRae, like these are huge names. Like, how'd you get them? Were you friends with them beforehand, or did you like reach out to them just through, or we were
fans? We were friends beforehand. Okay. Renee and I met via TikTok DM. I think she was like, "Bitch, you're funny," or something, and I was like, "I love you," and we just became. And she came to like I had the Spotify dinner, and I was like, really random, off chance, but do you want to come? And she's like, yeah. And then she came and we became super close. She became very close with all my friends, and I became close with her friends, and it just like happened. Okay. And Tate, we met through a mutual friend on a night out, and we really hit it off. And she's like, "You want to work out with me this week?" And I was like, "Sure." And so I went with her to the Aloe Gym, and then we started going together to the Aloe Gym every single day.
That's funny.
And no, sorry. We met on a night out. And then we were just messaging back and forth because we had a lot of fun together. And she was like, I was like, really random question, but are you going to this like fashion event thing this week? And she was like, oh my God, I am. And I like never do stuff like that. And so it was just really random. And I was like, okay, let's go together. So me, her, and my best friend Julia all got dinner before and went together. We had such a fun time. Then we worked out together. And we just worked out together every single day that summer.
What kind of workouts?
It was like training and Pilates.
Okay, nice.
And then one time Glenn Powell was in our Pilates class and we all just hit it off. And that's how I met Glenn.
That's so LA. Like, oh, I'm in a Pilates class and there's all these celebrities and rock stars. And
yes. Yeah, it was I would say I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky from the situations I found myself in.
How would you define your comedy?
Bitchy, negative, resentful, but endearing.
It's a good combination.
Thank you.
And fast forward, you had these great stars on your podcast. It was up the charts. How do you now, when you make a podcast, like what is your cadence? Like you said, it's long form, it gives you structure. How do you record? Like, and also how do you decide your guests? And I'm sure at your point now, instead of, you said before you had to beg people to come on, I'm sure now people are begging to be your guests. Like how does this all work? How does this operation work?
People aren't begging yet, so like
they will now after this.
Hopefully,
they will.
But I still beg. But I just think about what my audience would like to see and what I am actually personally passionate about, so I can talk about it. You know, I don't just want to be like, okay, they're coming on because they're on a press run.
Okay.
And so they are coming, it's just going to be like this, that, and the third. It's a lot of stuff that I'm personally passionate about. Those are the episodes that always like hit the hardest. And what I know my audience wants to see. It's just all about like knowing your audience and what they like and love. And I kind of, when I do a podcast, they come in, I say hi, and then we kind of start recording. I give them the option with whatever side they want to sit on, and we just kind of like let it flow, like two people meeting for the first time, or if we're friends, talking like friends. And I try to adapt to what that person's cadence is like, so the conversation can flow and be as comfortable as possible.
You said you know what your audience likes. Tell me about your audience.
My audience loves pop music, theater, like Taylor Swift, like they love what I love. And I think that's why it's such a cool audience. I don't know. They love watching me get super excited about something.
Okay.
Or do something super important to me. So like when I had Snooki on, if they hadn't seen Jersey Shore, they were like, we just started watching Jersey Shore, which was crazy because I thought everybody watched Jersey Shore. But they're like, we just started watching because like this was so cool. And I don't know. I think they love watching me be really excited in a conversation with someone.
You know, I live on the Jersey Shore.
Do you really?
I live and breathe the Jersey Shore.
Do you really?
Yes.
I love the Jersey Shore. Where in Jersey Shore do you live?
I'm up. My beach is Seabright. It's the top one.
Is that by Margate?
No.
Got it.
We're like, I'm I'm the one closest to New York City, so you can commute to New York.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I love the Jersey Shore.
It's great. I want to talk about this podcast too, because I love how you've turned it into a live show.
Yes.
And when I hear about creators going in real life, sometimes it's like they're doing 1 or 2 shows, but you're doing this like you said, you do everything 100%. Like I think it's a 36 city tour. Like tell me how this come about and like why, and also what does the show look like?
Okay, so I really started going very softly into the live space. So I started by doing Q&As at colleges.
Okay.
And so those were like prompt, like, someone would ask me a question, I'd answer. I thought no one was going to show up. My first one ever was at the University of Arkansas. I literally thought 2 people were going to show up. So many people showed up.
Was it like Therapuss, like people asking you personal questions?
No. It was like just a Q&A with me.
Okay.
And this was before I started my podcast. I actually told them, I was like, I'm starting a podcast.
Okay.
But it was one of the best experiences of my life. I love Arkansas. I loved everyone there. They were so incredible. And then I did one at Syracuse and I did one at Bucknell. And then I started my podcast and I did my first ever podcast live show in Irvine, California.
Okay.
I was shaking, so scared. And I kind of just like told stories that I wouldn't normally tell on the podcast. I did like audience tell me what's wrongs. It was amazing. And then we routed a full Therapuss live tour for this fall. I did that tour. I learned a lot. I learned about how to write a show, not like sit and like write, but like just like format it.
Kind of like this, like the
how to read
segments.
How to read a live audience as opposed to a digital audience. It's very different. It's very interesting to your digital community that you've created in person. It makes it feel very real. And I realized how much I loved it. So then we did it again. We did live with Jake Shane. The show initially, I think I did like a 50-minute show at first. It's now an hour and 45 minutes.
Okay.
Usually. Now I'll perform songs from my comedy album. I'll do Tell Me What's Wrongs. I'll tell a story about a time I was therapist. I talk about my past without giving too much away, like childhood's funny stuff. And I pull a lot of stuff from my childhood. It's a lot of audience participation. It feels like one big hangout, and I love it. I know I say that after I do this round of tour, I'm not going to tour for a while because not that I'm like the biggest tourer ever, but because I do want to experience life and be able to gather stories to be able to tell on stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it sounds like it's almost like a variety show now where it's you're doing comedy, you're doing song, you play music, or you sing along.
No, I sing to my songs.
You sing to your songs.
Yeah.
You're having guests, you're having audience. So that's so cool. What tell me about some of the guests you've had on the show, on the live show.
On the live show.
Yeah.
One of my best friends, Alex Earl.
So Alex Earl and she grew up in the town next to me. So
really?
And she's a former top creator.
She's a Jersey girl.
She's a top creator at under 30. So she's in the crew. So
she's the greatest of all time. She's been my guest twice now for my shows. So is her sister Ashton, and she's just so nice when you have like a best friend that is so pleasant to work with. It doesn't feel like work. It was so fun to do it with her.
How did you and Alex meet initially?
We met, she, I think, posted to one of the dances I was doing on TikTok, and I DM'd her being like, oh my God, I love you so much. Like, I'm obsessed with you. And she was like, I'm obsessed with you. And she was like, are you going to this Amazon event next week? And I was like, or I think I probably asked. And she was like, yes, are you? And I was like, yes. And then we met at the Amazon event. And she was like, she was like, do you want to come up to the room after? We can order room service and hang out. We went up to her room, ordered room service, hung out with her friend. And she is now a huge part of my life.
That's amazing.
And she's one of my dearest friends.
And so I'm sure, I know a lot of creators watching right now, they live in the digital world and they would love to start live. What advice would you have for someone when they're going from, maybe they have a popular podcast or they're a popular Instagram handle and they want to start creating a live product?
Don't do things that you think other people want to see. Do things that you are passionate about, because if you don't find success in it at first and you're just doing it because you think other people want to see it, it's a recipe for disaster. It's not going to last. But if you are personally finding fulfillment in it, then the numbers and the success won't matter as much.
Gotcha. How do you make money? What's the Jake Shane business? Because you said before about putting your business brain on.
Brand deals. That's probably my biggest source of income. And podcast sponsorships. I don't know exact logistics, but I think tour is a good income. But brand deals are really where it's at.
What are some of the brands you've worked with, and how do you kind of I'm sure you have a ton of offers. how do you decide to work with a brand?
I used to just say yes always. I'd be like, yes, 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 yes. Now I'm a little more picky because I want to do stuff that's a little more meaningful and a little more like impactful for my overall brand. And I don't want to just do random shit. But I don't know it just depends if I like the creative, if I like the brand, if I think it could be a funny thing. Yeah, I don't know if it seems like an exciting opportunity.
Give me some examples of brands you've worked with recently.
I did a Walmart Black Friday campaign, which was probably my favorite one that I've ever done. I worked with Sol de Janeiro twice, once with my friend Sophia Richie Grange and once at Coachella.
Okay.
And that was amazing. They are so lovely to work with. I've done stuff with Apple TV. That's always a pleasure. I've done stuff with Google. I've done stuff with Doritos, which was so fucking fun. That was like one of my favorites ever. We had these two women come to my house and we did like a skit together.
Okay.
I've done stuff with Neutrogena, CeraVe, which was super fun. Yeah.
What's the best way for brands and creators to work together?
They need to listen to the creator. I know that sounds silly because it's like, well, the brand knows like logistics, and they do. But I think if a creator is like, I'm telling you, this is what my audience wants to see, the brand needs to like be receptive to that. And that's something I've always been very passionate about since starting. Like and usually the brands I work with are very chill and easy with it. So it usually is great.
Back to your podcast. Who is your dream guest?
Well, Taylor Swift, of course. But I know that is unlikely.
Taylor, you listening? Taylor.
I don't think she is.
No, you never know.
I know that is unlikely. She is my dream of dreams. Also, Ariana Grande.
What would you ask Taylor? First, if you had one question.
I would ask her, I think I would ask her a lot about her like writing process, and I would ask her a song that was written in like the craziest place she's ever written a song. The longest night she's ever had in the studio, the most difficult time she's ever had with a song that's made it onto the album, stuff like that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And in terms of, you have a hit podcast, you have a hit interview show. You're like, we're with Forbes, we're old school media, we're traditional media. You are a creator, you're the new media, the cutting edge. Like, what advice would you give to a company like Forbes, or if you were the head of social for like a traditional media company, what would you do? What can we learn from you?
That digital talent is intertwining extremely with traditional talent in terms of like public consumption. And I think that's just an interesting thing to play with and maybe like experiment with. How, I don't know, Forbes is very good with digital talent. Like Forbes does like top creators, like they really take digital talent seriously. I'd say some people don't, and it is something to take seriously because it is a very powerful tool of communication.
We're trying. It's moving so fast, but we're trying to stay cutting edge. So this has helped. This is good. I'm learning a ton. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Well, Jake Shane, thank you for joining the Top Creator Show.
Oh, thanks for having me. This was such a joy.
It was fun. Thank you.
Thank you.